Hey, welcome to this podcast where the truth is released to inspire you to find your voice, bring out the gold within you, and help you reach your full potential to roar out loud in the world around you. I'm your host, Mary Street, and I'm here to take you on a weekly journey of hope, inspiration, and empowerment. This podcast is where we believe in turning up the volume on life's practical tips, impart insightful wisdom, as well as share life stories of triumph, resilience, and passion. In each episode, we'll be diving deep into relevant topics in today's world, as well as into the incredible lives and stories of extraordinary everyday individuals like you and me who have been set free from the fears, lies, and have overcome great adversity and found their voice to release their roar. So whether you're tuning in during your morning drive, working out at the gym, getting ready for school, or cozying up with that good cup of coffee, get ready to amplify your life and ignite your courage. This is Roar Out Loud. Well, hello. It's so good to be here with you guys. This podcast is a long time coming, and I'm excited to be on here. I'm Mary Street, and I am with Roaring Hope. And I'm so super stoked that we are getting ready to take off. This podcast is the very first podcast, and we are launching today the Roar Out Loud podcast. Woohoo! And your voice is meant to roar out loud, just as I'm stepping into this space, and you too are going to roar out loud. I've been a missionary in Africa for 16 years of my life. I went over as a single gal at 27 years old and went over there, and I was working with a church plant, helping teach in the Bible schools, and preaching, teaching. That's what I did. That's what I do. And I'm also a mother of 4 amazing children and a wife to a wonderful, wonderful husband who literally is my rock. Next to Jesus, he is my rock. And he also has been such a big part of helping me step into this space and releasing my voice. And I'm excited to be here with you guys and really step into this space with you. I believe many of you guys are going to join me on this journey of releasing the roar and finding your voice. And Roaring Hope is going to be released into the airwaves, into your hearts as you listen. In today's podcast, we're going to explore the profound concept of how each of us just get one chance at life and how important it is to release to this world your voice and what you carry. Getting only one chance at life is a subject that has inspired countless of philosophers, writers, and thinkers throughout the ages. And we're going to explore what it means to truly make the most of this gift of life that we're given. It is a gift. This life is a gift, and we're not to take it lightly. For some of you, if you're like me, you believe in God, you're on some journey to find God or a higher power or something like that. You know, we're all on a journey in life. And it's so important to look at every day as a gift. And I believe personally that it is a gift from God, the creator of the universe. And every day on the way to dropping off my kids at school, I always pray with them and in the car. And I thank God for another day to wake up and be fully alive in Him and in relationship with Him. The knowledge that life is finite or limited can be a powerful, powerful motivator to live life to the fullest and to chase after our dreams. You know, while making a lasting impact on this world seems good, exciting, and even honorable, for some, it can feel a little overwhelming, far-fetched, downright scary, or even like, what's the point? My life doesn't matter, so why try? You know, in January of 2023, just 9 months ago, I found myself going through one of the most deepest, hardest emotional things that I have faced a lot in my life. And I've faced a lot of hard throughout my years, but this was different. And it was a feeling of hard that I'd not experienced before. It was close. It was like a part of me. And it was the loss of one of my oldest sisters, Selena. I stood by her for several days in the ICU, watching her hooked up to machines and quickly passing away. You know, Selena, She was the sister I shared a room with growing up, and the only sister who stole my shirts and wore them without asking, which, that stretched them out and that would tick me off. And she was also so annoying at times. And she would keep her side of the room really messy, and my side was cleaner. Some of you guys know what I'm talking about. Some of you have shared rooms or are sharing rooms with siblings, and you know exactly what I'm talking about. You can relate to this. It's real. It's real. And it's not fun sometimes. But we were a family of 6 kids, in poverty, raised in poverty. We were from a mother and 3 different fathers, yet for the most part, we were raised together through lots of emotional tragedy, emotional, verbal, physical, sexual abuse. And I would dare to say that my sister Selena suffered the most trauma, mentally, emotionally, physically, and sexually. And we went through the trenches together as kids. And she was the protection of sorts to me when I was younger. And that was because she wasn't afraid to let her voice be known. And I was a really withdrawn kid. I was so quiet and outside of the home, like I didn't talk to people. I just didn't talk to people. I was the kid that really didn't think I should be heard and that my voice just didn't really matter. I would almost burst into tears. I would burst into tears if I was called on by the teacher. I was so afraid to raise my hand in school. And I would always cry the first day of school. After our grandmother dropped me off, I would cry. I would go tuck away somewhere and go hide and go cry. And Selena often would comfort me. And she spoke up for me, and she would get in anyone's face who was threatening to bully me. She did not mess around with that kind of thing. She was like the Robin Hood, so to speak, in our family, but the Robin Hood to other people. And she would be a voice when people didn't have a voice. And she had that loud, bubbly personality that let the whole world know, hey, Selena has arrived. Her bubbly personality and loudness were a wall of smoke, though. You guys know what I'm talking about. And some of you have this same thing that I'm talking about. She hid her heart pain behind that wall of bubbly personality from her heart pain from years of trauma. But in reality, she never found her voice. She never found her true voice, I should say. In the end of her life, she couldn't and wouldn't speak up for herself. And she never felt good enough. She never felt accepted enough. She never felt clean enough, forgiven enough, or loved enough, which caused a lot of havoc in her mind and physically in her body and in her heart. I'll never forget being by her bedside, watching her tested on the Friday and eventually declared brain dead that evening. After the doctors cleared the room, my mother was holding her hand and out of great emotion started apologizing to Selena in a meek voice for not being there for her and not being a good mother. And she quietly said, "I'm sorry." Several times in that moment, something rose inside of me, and it was a righteous anger like a lioness. And I yelled, "Say it again, say it louder." And my mother had previously apologized to my sister several times over the phone for not being a good mother. And in that moment, apologized to all of us. But throughout our lives, we never heard the words from her. We never heard the "I'm sorry." And not saying them shaped pain and left deep gashing wounds in us. And I know they did in me. You may not be a mother. Maybe you're just a kid. Maybe you're a teenager. Maybe you're a young adult listening to this. But no matter your status in life right now, your words, they matter. Your words, they carry weight with your family, your children, your friends. In life, we only get that one chance and we have to make every day count. What does that mean to you? What does that mean when I say we only get one chance at life and we have to make it count? It means that our days are numbered. You or I, we don't know what tomorrow brings, or if tomorrow, if we're even going to be living in the tomorrow, or if we'll be here in eternity. We're not promised tomorrow. You're not on this earth just to go through life, just to go through the emotions of the day-to-day life. You're on this earth to make an impact. And there are people called to be impacted by you, by your story. And maybe you're called to impact your school. Maybe you're called to impact your workplace. Maybe you're called to impact your church realm, your college realm, your businesses, your city, at government levels. Maybe you're called to make that impact. You are called to make an impact, but maybe you're called to impact just that sphere of influence that you have been given. So where are you called to be an influence to, and to whom? What message do you carry that you need to rise up and you need to say it again and say it loud and release your roar within you and let your voice be heard? You know, finding your roar is about discovering and amplifying your God-given strength and your voice. It's that resounding confidence inside of you and that unwavering expression of your beliefs and your convictions. What's in here? I was in Africa for 16 years working in missions, and I've seen lions up close and personal. It's crazy. You know, when they roar, it comes from a deep place within them that seems to penetrate into the very atmosphere so powerfully so you could feel it in the deep of you. Much like a lion's roar, your roar is a declaration of your presence, your power, and your purpose. Your roar is a reflection. It's a reflection of your authenticity. The truth is when you find your roar, you become a force to be reckoned with and capable of making a significant impact on your own life and the world around you. Seriously, if you're scared to roar, then you need to ask yourself, why am I scared? You know, my question to you is, what is it that's holding you back? Is it self-doubt? The fear of man, fear of not being liked, not good enough, fear of being vulnerable? If you answered yes, then you're like me. When I discovered the truth of my fears, I realized I was afraid of what people would think of my voice. I was afraid of being authentic. What would people say? What would people say? I cared more about what people thought and what people would think about me, or what others would say about me, than I cared about the people that needed to hear my story, my wisdom and truths that I carry from everything that I walk through in life. Not just the trauma, not just the abuse, but my time on the mission field, my time that I've leaned in and poured into other people and helped them find their visions, their dreams, and what they're called to do. There's wisdom in those things that you step into, but I was afraid to release all of that and who I truly was because I was afraid of people. In that sense, I was afraid of letting my voice be heard. My eyes were more inward, and we're called to serve people. And you can't do that if your eyes are on yourself and not upward. You know, to be honest, when your eyes are on yourself, that's caring only about yourself instead of caring about others. You're not truly doing things out of a place of being a servant. You know, nobody else has my story. No one has your individual story. Nobody can tell it like you. Nobody. We got to get our eyes off of ourselves to roar, to say it again. And there's only one you. There's only one you with your story. You know, maybe you didn't come from a bad family home like I did. Maybe you didn't suffer abuse and trauma and all the things, and you've been the all around, you know, good person. I've had a good family life. My family was great. You know, that in and of itself is a great true story. The world needs to be around whole people like you, and they need your story of wholeness. You know, we live in a world that's broken, and there are hurting people all around us, waiting to be given something they can anchor themselves in, waiting to be given truth and hope. And stories like yours have an anchor for people around you. You know, in that moment by my sister's side, seeing her at a young age of 49 slip into eternity, it broke something in me. It broke in me, knowing she never really learned to know herself much less love herself, knowing she lived years and years without true internal hope. She never found her true voice. knowing she never really learned to know herself, much less love herself, knowing she never lived years and years without true eternal hope inside of her. I mean, she loved, she had a relationship with God, but she didn't fully know hope on this earth. She never found her true voice, knowing she never got to say it again, knowing she never got to truly release her roar because she couldn't see past the boxes of fear, to break into true freedom, to spread her wings and truly fly. It lit a fire in me that day when I saw her passing away, when I saw her declared brain dead. It lit a fire in me that day when I heard my mom say, "I'm sorry. I vowed not on my watch will I not open my mouth and say it again and say it louder. It's time to let my roar be heard." It's time to let your roar be heard. Who's waiting on your voice? Who's waiting on you to open your mouth and roar? There are people called to be impacted by your story, by your voice, your wisdom. And if you're fearful to step out, like I was fearful to step out, I want to ask you, who lied to you? What lies are you believing over yourself? What lies are you believing? Have you been told you're too much? Have you been told your voice doesn't really matter? Do the voices in your head constantly tell you, what you have to say doesn't matter? Who would want to listen to you anyway? Or who would want to read what you wrote? Or who would want to hear you sing that song? Then, friend, if those are the things you're hearing, like I've heard over and over in my head, it's time to run at your giants. It's time to go after the Goliaths in your life. It's time to rise up. It's time to rise up. Let your voice be heard. Literally say it loud. Say it again. Don't hold back. Some of you are called to write that book, like I said. You're called to pick up that phone, call that loved one, and choose forgiveness. You're called to record that song. You're called to step into that breakthrough. Say it again loud. Say it again. Unleash your roar. People need the real you. People need your authentic self to show up. Take your place in society. Take your place at the table. Take your place on the airwaves. Take your place. Today, ask yourself, am I living authentically? Evaluate whether you're being true to yourself or if you're conforming to others' expectations or societal pressures of who they think you should be. Authenticity requires self-awareness and self-acceptance. It requires you to lean in and develop a deep understanding of who you are, not what society says you need to be. Who are you? What do you stand for? What makes you sad? What makes you mad? What makes you happy? What things bring joy to you? Authenticity means being unapologetically yourself, regardless of external pressures or judgments. When you're authentic, you radiate a true genuineness that attracts people to you. And your authenticity can create open doors of favor and opportunities in your life. Authenticity, living fully you and fully alive, it allows you to live a more fulfilling and meaningful life. This world needs people like you, like me, to be fully you, to be fully present, to step up and step out with what you've been given. What talents do you possess? What is in your hands? Our talents and our stories are not to be kept with us and buried with us someday, like my sister's talents and stories were, unfortunately. What we go through in life is stories and tools that we can use to bring wholeness and freedom to help other people. The purpose of our life is to bless and serve people. Let me say that again. The purpose of our life is to bless and serve people and to be that helping hand that helps people out of that ditch into great freedom. You'll never rise in a world that seems dark and chaotic if you haven't learned to lean into authenticity. You're stewarding your talents and what you carry in your hands. The reality is that we all carry truth and we carry wisdom. We carry things inside of us. When we walk through valleys and we come out on the other end, scarred up, but our scars are like badges of honor. Friend, you've got badges of honor that you carry authority in. You've got those badges of honor. And like me, you're called to write that book. You're called to do different things. I'm so excited that I wrote my first book. I'm also now on the airwaves here podcasting with this podcast. It's super exciting. I never thought that I would do that. Fear was involved in that too, getting started. I'm a wife to an amazing husband. I'm a mother to 4 beautiful, wonderful children. I am a speaker. I'm a teacher. I'm a transformational life coach. If I can go from being a little girl who believed I had no voice and I was emotionally shut down due to all the severe physical abuse, the sexual abuse, the trauma I went through, the horrible, negative words spoken over me, the poverty I was raised in. If I can go from that shut down little girl with no voice to now stepping into this space and stepping out and releasing my voice so that you can receive that roar and break into your freedom too. Guess what? So can you. I'm stepping into my authenticity, and so can you. Who is waiting on you to be authentic, to step up and step out, to release your roar? If you want breakthrough and would love to have someone come alongside of you to help you reach your full potential, hey, I offer coaching sessions and coaching packages. For more inquiry, you can reach us at roaringhopecoach@gmail.com. If you'd like to book me as a speaker at your event or church, you can email us at roaringhope@gmail.com. If you enjoyed this podcast, guys, I want you to hit subscribe, leave a review, and share it with your friends and family. Always remember, your voice matters. Your dreams, they are worth pursuing. And you, my friend, you have the power to roar out loud. Hey, thanks for tuning in. If you enjoyed this podcast, hit subscribe, leave a review, and share it with your friends and family. Always remember, your voice matters. Your dreams are worth pursuing. And you, my friend, have the power to roar out loud.